Hello, this is episode 9 of this series, and if you recall, we are second in the second standings. Let me check that really quickly. If you hear something in my background, that's my friend. He's playing a game as well. So odds of me getting first place are, I'm not even sure if it's possible with one race left. That's another thing, they don't really have one race left to try and stay at second place. I believe that even after this, we'll have to go ahead and still gonna have to do another season, I believe, before I can get to Featherlight, which is something I'd really like to do. But that's gonna be probably another 10 episodes. Well, technically, this one was 9 because, you know, whatever. Alright, so let's jump to it. Just to verify, yep, that is the last race. Alright, this is Fairgrounds. Woo! Alright, see you all there. Okay, we are here at the Fairgrounds. Well, a fun map, it does have issues of me having to deal with some overheating, so I'm going to drive a couple laps to see if I have that issue at all. Luckily, the practice round doesn't cost money if I do crash, and I can do it infinitely technically. I'm just trying to get a couple laps in to see what the temperature stays at. If you recall in my past episodes, I was talking about a map where your crew automatically puts tape on your grill, and this is the map that's an issue. Okay, 187. Gonna do 2 more laps, I think.
Oh my god, we had so many good.
Alright, it looks like it's actually fine, so it's probably not an issue actually. Alright, instead of you guys just watching me do nothing effectively, I'm going to go ahead and get to qualifying. Hopefully we get good placement. Alright, well, nice variation of lap times. I think we can get somewhere decent. That's how I've been doing, at least anyways. Oh, you guys should be happy to not see my mouse cursor. I did actually find that setting, which I couldn't find earlier for some reason. Resolution, still trying to mess with it. Not sure how else to change it, but it is what it is, unfortunately.
Wait, but then what happened when he hooked it? Did he get trapped? Just dropped?
No. Dang it. Oh, that's going to screw our qualification. Hopefully we're Heat 1, though, and we can make up for it in the actual qualify race things. Don't know what you want to call it, but yeah. It's not quite the best. Another reason I don't like one lap qualify. Oh, well, but it's actually decent and we're in Heat 1. I'll take it. Not amazing, of course. Actually, I mean, comparatively, 7's not bad out of 20, whatever it is. So, yeah, no, I'll take it. I'm down.
Is professional play a higher tick?
Alright, well, I'm gonna say that was his fault. Because he kinda came out of nowhere. Whoa, okay then. I did not touch him. Okay, well, maybe he did a little, but that's kind of his own fault for not being able to recover a tiny touch. Alright, so we're in second. Let's see if we can get past this guy. Mr. 4 tons. Now being able to get in first in Heat 1's pretty good thing because he usually doesn't have more of the better racers, I believe. It's not super founded, but you do have the first place in qualifications. We have every even number of qualifications, so theoretically you'd have more skill in Heat 1, at least in accordance to qualifiers. Qualifiers don't necessarily mean that they actually race good. It just means that they qualified fine. I like this map except for when I have that overheating issue, which I believe next season, once I have my engine a bit more upgraded, assuming that we can't just skip into the Featherlight, then I'm gonna have to deal with that.
It's probably just like a great wall.
But yeah, going back to the heat thing, it's every even number, so you'd have first and third and so on. So theoretically, if first place had 10 skill, and second had 8, and it kept going down from there, and third would have like 7, for example. And then fourth would have 6, and fifth would have whatever. You kind of get the idea of it just being especially the even or the odd numbers are always better in this situation. Alright, so we managed to get first in this, so assuming nothing crazy happens in Vein, we should be able to get first, which will give us nice prize money, which will help us get the exhaust. And then we'll finish the season really strongly as our first win. And hopefully you don't hear my friend too much in the background. I was testing some of the sounding. Didn't really hear it, unless you're looking for it, I guess. Okay, there's Mr. White. White car. He was in second place that last race. I don't know if you saw at the end. Or not the race, but the A-main. Or not A-main, Heat 1. He was the one that was behind us. Oh, don't touch the side. Now this race isn't too sliding, and it's a lot more forgiving. Except for the oil temperature. That's something you gotta be aware of. Which ours seems to be at a good end. Although, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but it's not an issue that I can remember on any other map. It's just the map that I remember it being a thing.
Exactly. You gotta look at it half full.
Okay, neck and neck with Mr. 459 here. See if I can get a bit of a lap. Nope. Robin's racing, as they say. Actually, now that I think about it. Technically, I think before Dale Earnhardt died, you could bump people. I don't know how hard you could bump them. I knew it was technically allowed, but then I think once they died, they stopped that. Now, I'm not a NASCAR historian, so I could be completely off on that, but I thought that was part of the reason that he crashed. While his death was obviously a bad thing, I do believe it led to greater safeties in the sport, which is, well, unfortunate that it had to be, retroactive, I think, is the term to use here. It's better that it's retroactive than just not happening at all. I'm sure lots of I believe, well, I would imagine lots of the padding from football, for example, is the result of retroactive emplacements, if you will. Because I'm sure something similar might happen to rugby. I know that's one of the things that rugby has over American football is like, oh, we don't use pads, but I mean, if you guys get injured enough, I'm sure you're going to regret that. Wasn't Purple knocked off like last in Heat 1? I could have sworn he was. If I can't catch up to the first place, I'm going to be decently peeved. Because I would like to at least finish in a win. We don't need all the laps, but finishing a win would be a great feeling. That'd be the first one. I would really like that one. Anyways, it's generally better to have proactive things, which, if I'm not using the definitions correctly, this is what I'm thinking that they mean at least. Proactive is something you do before something happens. Retroactive is something you change after it happens. I'm pretty sure I'm using those correctly, but I'm not entirely sure. Anyways, it's better to be proactive because that means that nothing bad happened for it to change. Unfortunately, that isn't always the case. Sometimes there's things that you don't think of will happen, or you think it'll just happen at such a small opportunity that you just won't even bother with it. And unfortunately, stuff ends up happening. They will end up doing retroactive changes, but that isn't necessarily guaranteed. Alright, Mr. Yellow Flames, go away. I don't like you. I'm not sure if drafting affects your car at all in the Dirt Series. I do know it is a bigger thing in Featherlight and truck. I don't notice any difference, so there's also not really enough cars to be able to make much of a difference, I can tell. Dang it. I want to finish second in the season, and if freaking Mr. Yellow Flames is third, then he's going to beat me. I'm pretty sure. Unless, of course, I can beat him, but if he's the one that's behind me in the standings, that's going to be an issue. But yeah, something proactive would be like, you saw that there was like a hole in your fence, and then you start thinking like, what could be used against me with that hole in the fence, and so you like fix the fence before anything bad happens. Before that, retroactive, at least in the way that I'm using it, would be, you have a hole in your fence, but you don't do anything about it, and then you find out a pack of wolves comes through your house at night, not your house, but your backyard, and digs up all your tulips or something silly. And like, oh, well, dang, now I should fix that hole in the fence. I mean, you could argue the fence, repairing the fence would be retroactive, because technically you probably shouldn't let it get a hole to begin with. But I mean, if you're doing it proactively, before something bad is exploited by that, I would still argue that's proactive. But I would understand why you might say, oh, that's for the only retroactive because the hole's there. Fundamentally, it's just a matter of like context, I guess. So yeah, that's kind of how lots of safeties happen. They're probably more retroactive than proactive, I would imagine. You can only imagine so many things and find them so possible to begin with. Dang it. I hope that wasn't the guy who was third. Oh, we lost our first place too. Dang it.
Well, I think it's because the game is like literally 50, most people sit around 50% win rates. So I think that's why it doesn't spread as much as it spreads like, I don't know.
Yeah, let's see how we finished that race and how we finished the season.
So I guess it makes sense why.
We would have gotten a decent amount of money for that.
Like it's the nature of how the game is.
Okay, so we didn't finish first, which is give or take expected.
Like you're still going with an Overwatch, which I can't even imagine that's like, what is that?
Alright, we finished second. Ooh, oh wow, T-Finger is all the way down there. So I definitely managed to spread that a bit. Alright, well, unfortunately we didn't get any wins, but I will take a second place and see where this gets us. Should have enough for that exhaust. I don't think we can mess with any of these yet. Nope. Can't mess with those until after this season, and then I have to do good in the first bit. Alright, before that, I do want to go ahead and put in that exhaust. Oops. Oh, we can get a level 5 exhaust. Slightly heavier, but I mean, whatever. If it's better horsepower, I don't see why that would be a bad thing. Alright, time to end this season. See what cookies we get and what cookies we don't. Postseason. We're behind by like 100 points. The only way we could have won is if Kato lost and got 0 points, and we got freaking first in all the points. Which unfortunately did not happen. But that's probably the only way that we could have pulled that off, I would imagine. 10 top 10s. That's like all the races. That's cool. Kind of upset that we're stuck at second for our best finish. So upsetting. Alright, here we go. Our first sponsorship. You can obviously just pause and read through this. I don't want to because the only thing that matters is ultimately the money, and if you think you can finish in third place, which I believe we can do with lots of our upgrades. So we're going to go ahead and throw them on there. Continue to the next season, and yep. Alright. That is it for this episode, and I hope you enjoyed it. The end of our first season, and we are going to start into the next season on the next episode. Episode 10, I believe, if I did my math. Alright, adios. Hope you have a good day.